Industry and workplace correspondents have found that emotional intelligence matters in the workplace. On this morning's exclusive, we're joined by our industry correspondents in high and low emotional intelligence workplaces. Workplaces used to be emotion-free. It was thought that displaying emotions made for low-quality work. A well-run organization didn't allow employees to express frustration, fear, anger, love, hate, joy, grief, because these are irrational. But increasingly, we're seeing that emotions are critical for rational decision-making and rational thought. Our emotions inform our understanding of the world around us. For more on emotional intelligence, we're joined by Ali Gorman, our workplace correspondent with Nat Geo News Channel 7.
Thank you, Mario. More into emotional intelligence. There are three important aspects to emotional intelligence, which is a person's ability to be self-aware and recognize one's own emotions when one experiences them, and another one is to detect emotions in others and to manage emotional cues and information. The key to good decision making is to employ both thinking and feeling into our decisions in the workplace. And that's all I have on emotional intelligence.
Thanks, Ali. So that sounds like a pretty subjective thing, this emotional intelligence. I think one of our other correspondents might be able to tell us a bit more about the case against emotional intelligence.
Thanks, Mario. We know that emotions are important in rational decision making, and emotional intelligence is the ability to use those emotions effectively and appropriately, depending on situation and circumstance. However, the theory of emotional intelligence can be subjective, based on personal feelings, opinions, and experiences. It's a vague concept with different researchers and psychologists focusing on different tests and different aspects of a person's behavior and their choices in these select scenarios. Emotional intelligence is not measured consistently. Because of these things, the validity of emotional intelligence as a tool is suspect. Emotional intelligence could also be considered a personality trait. This makes it difficult to determine right or wrong, high or low. And when organizations conduct tests to determine an employee or potential candidate's EI, it's important for the organization to select the correct type of tests in order to measure what they really want to get out of the responses and results. Each organization might be looking for specific EI measures, and this can become difficult in selecting the correct assessment. However, despite its advantages and the difficulty in measuring EI, it definitely matters in the workplace, and we've collected some samples on high and low EI.
Thanks, Sarah. So, can you think of a time when someone showed really poor emotional intelligence? Can you think of a person in specific, maybe?
I think I can. What about our lovely friend down south?
Our favorite orange president?
That's the one.
Let's cut to that video. In this next clip from our partner organization, CNN News, Abby Phillip, a reporter, asks President Trump a lot of stupid questions in her response during an inquiry in the press gaggle.
Abby, you asked the president if he wants Whitaker to rein in Robert Mueller during that gaggle. I want to play for everyone what he said. Do you want him to rein in Robert Mueller?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
So, Sarah, what was going on here?
Well, this video clearly shows that Donald Trump has low EI in this scenario because he has little awareness of his own emotions and the emotion of his colleague, Abby. This causes an ineffectual response in the interview situation. This also limits the benefit that could arise from the interview.
I think you're right. In this scenario, we see that the reporter might have a higher level of EI than the president. Without cooperation on his part and willingness to work with her, no productive or positive results could occur. We kind of said. All right, so that was a bad example. Sarah, can you think of someone else that might have really good EI?
You know, another presidential candidate I can think of was Bill Clinton.
Let's cut to a clip of Bill.
Let's take a look, first paying attention to the distance of George Bush versus Bill Clinton.
That's why I'm trying to do something about it by stimulating the export, investing more, better education systems. Thank you. I'm glad to clarify.
The first thing is to get a sense of how far away each person is when they're speaking. George Bush gave his answer about 25 feet away from the question asker, who was actually off screen to the right. Watch now as Clinton closes that distance as much as possible.
How it's affected you again? You know people who've lost their jobs and lost their homes? Well, I've been governor of a small state for 12 years.
See how Clinton gets as close as possible without actually entering the crowd. This lets the person know that you are focused on them. He's actually directing all of his body language towards the woman who asked this question, and at this distance, she gets a sense of the nuances of his eye contact, which makes everything that we're about to talk about and that Clinton does so much more powerful.
Every year, Congress and the president sign laws that make us do more things and gives us less money to do it with.
You know, you were right, Sarah. Bill Clinton really is good at EI. Through his emotional intelligence, he was able to show a lot of empathy for that lady asking the questions, making some good eye contact and making her feel like she was the only person in the room. He really was good at reading her emotions.
He really was. In the same way, members of an organization can use these skills to communicate more efficiently in the workplace. These techniques come into play in the organization when communicating with those in power as well with those in power over you.
We've seen that emotional intelligence does have a really big place to play in the workplace. It allows for some emotions to create buy-in from employees, to create motivation. It shows empathy from the leader, and it makes for a more cohesive team that's going to have higher productivity. To tell us more about how to achieve high EI in the workplace, we have our workplace correspondents, Natalie and Kennedy.
Okay, you're good.
There are many ways to assess emotional intelligence. However, the most common tool when measuring EI are self-assessments. These assessments are structured one of two ways. Either they are answered based on emotional habits and tendencies, or by right or wrong answers. Unfortunately, both structures have a level of subjectivity. Because EI is a composite of personality and ability, right or wrong answers are difficult to capture EI in its entirety. And though self-reporting can capture EI much more effectively, we run risk of self-deception and false responses. In spite of that, measuring EI is still important even if the methods are flawed. Over to you, Natalie.
There are 5 things that make up high EI. One being self-awareness, which is being aware of how your emotions can affect people around you. Self-regulation, which is being calm, knowing your values, and holding yourself accountable for your actions. Motivation, so remembering the purpose of the job you're doing and being hopeful. Empathy, putting yourself in someone else's position, paying attention to body language and responding to feelings. And we have social skills, learning conflict resolution and communication skills, knowing how and when to praise others. So those are the 5 realms to measuring EI.
This morning's exclusive was about emotional intelligence in the workplace. We were joined by our workplace correspondents to talk about high and low emotional intelligence workplaces, where it's important to recognize your own emotions, recognize emotions in others, and manage those emotional cues in order to have effective, high-quality, cohesive teams that are highly productive. That's all we have for today. Read and manage those cues and stay classy, OB.